on this, I think a lot of people are looking for something different, right? We've been fed, and this just comes from me. Like I'm a millennial. Like I've just been fed like commercialism my whole life, right? Just buying and buying and buying and buying, and then buy some more. And then we're just starting to see, hey, they didn't work for the generations before us. It's not going to work for the generations after us. And I think a lot of people are looking for something different and more meaningful.
I just want to bring up some family things because I know on one of our other podcasts you were talking about how your family makes the tamales, and my family, we have a cannoli tradition. Like my great grandfather was a pastry chef from Sicily, and so he made cannoli every year. We made cannolis, and even that where we're making this food, but there's a ritual to that. That's almost the ceremony in itself, and we're just coming together and we're making food for our family that we can all enjoy. But I guess what would you add to all this, Giovanni, as far as your family or yourself and your traditions at this time of the year?
Yeah, no, those are great. My wife and I actually don't have any traditions. Like, I mean, we typically wouldn't have the traditional, quote unquote, traditional. What is traditional?
Yes.
American kind of holidays, specifically Christmas type thing, right? So in previous podcasts, you and I discussed, we would go to what was my grandma's house, now my aunt's house, and all the cousins and aunts and uncles, we would all be making tamales on Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Eve night, we would go and it'd be family and just celebrating with, we used to do a gift exchange. And I think recent years, we kind of shifted it to like a donation kind of a thing because we don't need things anymore, right? As all the cousins have gotten older. So that's like the main thing when we were able to do that in person. And then we kind of both fell off of like the whole traditional Christmas thing of gifts and stuff like that. We just saw Christmas had become too commercialized, and it's just this, especially like after Thanksgiving, right? It's like all these sales and stuff. And we're just like, we don't really prescribe to that. We don't like that. So even within our just immediate families, we started to say, hey, instead of gifts, let's donate to a cause that we all like. And then we just donated that way. But what you guys had just mentioned actually are really good ideas for like my wife and I to start a new tradition.
Yes.
And see, it's more of the contemplative things. And I actually told my wife about the gratitude jar and all this stuff. We actually were looking at like stuff a couple weeks ago, I think it was. And so we're in the market for new traditions, if you will, for it.
We should open a new website. Buy your tradition here, like new traditions.
Yeah. Well, I think it's good. I don't know. I think like on this, I think a lot of people are looking for something different, right? We've been fed, and this just comes from me. Like I'm a millennial. Like I've just been fed like commercialism my whole life, right? Just buying and buying and buying and buying, and then buy some more. And then we're just starting to see, hey, they didn't work for the generations before us. It's not going to work for the generations after us. And I think a lot of people are looking for something different and more meaningful, especially millennials. I mean, they want purpose. They want something behind it. And so I think we are looking for more purpose in things that we do. And I think that is changing. So I think this is a great episode for people who are listening that are, just wanting something more than just the same old commercial holiday,
And I would encourage to add to that, Giovanni, and I totally agree with you. And that's why we've chose to look up the solstice, like what is this thing? And what does it mean? And why is it important? And, we started learning and making new traditions, but also not to get away. I just want to, play almost the opposite for a second of gift giving. Yes, it's become commercialized, but let's remember, like even, I forget the author's name, but he created the book, The 5 Languages of Love. Yeah. The 5, and one of them's gifts. And there are certain people that is important for them to get those gifts, but it doesn't mean you have to go buy these commercial things. A gift could be, it's even more meaningful when you make something, like for my wife, we've had our anniversaries. In the beginning, I would be thinking, oh, what am I going to get my wife? And, as you're together long enough, it's like, hey, we have, like you said, we have what we need. and even a lot of our stuff around the holidays, we buy all our stuff like, oh, we need some more soap or we need some more of this. So like our active things we just give to each other, at that time of the year. So then they are things we need. But then we can have that idea of we're all opening things together. So we've done things like that, but then also just making some really cool things. Like, when we were dating, I would write more letters to my wife. I would, maybe draw something or be creative. And now I'm pushing myself, and it took a little bit of extra to go back to that time of dating. And so even our past anniversary, I wrote this letter, and then I don't know what came into me. I was thinking how I wanted to fold the paper in a cool way and like make this gift of this letter. And when I folded it, I couldn't think how to fold it more uniquely than I had before. I've done so then I just started writing on the next page, and then I made a theme. So I had the whole like an 8.5 by 11, and I wrote this letter, and then I folded it in half, and I had another theme, and I wrote about another theme in our life, and I wrote that part of the letter. Then I folded the paper in half again, and then I wrote another theme of our life and our relationship, like, oh yeah, this happened, and this is part of our journey. And then I folded it in half again, and I did it as far as I could until I couldn't fold it in half anymore, and they all had a different theme. And I think I got like 7 good themes of our life together into this thing. And that was a freaking piece of paper, but I put so much love and thought into that. And then that was like that. I can't remember what else I did. We actually had like a nice dinner and some things like that. And sometimes I'll add flowers into the mix on that, or buy a plant that we can plant in the ground, because I like to do that instead of just having cut flowers too. But we do both. But that was the biggest gift. So I guess just bringing it back, yes, let's maybe tone down the commercialism of it, but let's not forget to give each other gifts, even if it's our time,
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like what Giovanni was saying about spending time with his grandmother and spending time with his aunt. I was just speaking with my parents as well, and we were going over what memories do you have with your grandparents? What memories do you have with your aunt and uncles? What kinds of food did your grandmother teach you how to make? What kind of recipes did they share? And so I think it also gives maybe grandparents don't know how to connect with their millennials. Maybe they, and so I think we can find that common ground and allow them to give us those gifts of traditions and recipes and food and, all of those things like you were talking about with your grandfather as well.
Hey there, I want to give you something really big. It's called Clear Path to Customers. It's the way that we get the right language to get the right client. I like to call them your wow clients, so that you can have more results, more revenue, more raving fans, and more referrals. And I want to give this to you absolutely free. And all you have to do is go to stevenapolitan.com to check it out, or you can look at the description here. We'll put the details there. As always, remember, choose gratitude and create freedom.